Our top focus this evening, a landmark judgment from the top court of the country today with ramifications on the choice of abortion by women. The Supreme Court upheld the right to life of an unborn child, prioritizing it over the bodily autonomy or right to choice of the mother. Now, in the case where a woman sought permission to terminate her 26-week-old pregnancy, the Supreme Court refused the request. Now, the court emphasized that termination was not permissible as it had surpassed the 24-week ceiling prescribed by the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act. It also stated that there were no identified fetal abnormalities according to the two AIMS reports presented before the court. Now, the Supreme Court also highlighted that the reports indicated no immediate necessity for termination to safeguard the life of the petitioner or the fetus. Meanwhile, the apex court has directed the state to cover all medical expenses related to the pregnancy, as the petitioner had said that she is suffering from postpartum psychosis and will be unable to bear the expenses of bringing up the child. However, while it pronounced this verdict, the Supreme Court also clarified that the decision to either give up the child for adoption or not later lies with the mother. To better understand this development, I'm being joined in by my guests this evening. Let me first go across to Brinda Adige, who is an activist. Brinda, I appreciate you taking the time out, joining me here on Mirror Now on this very sensitive topic. Let me begin by asking you this. Very pertaining remarks made by the bench headed by CJI said it cannot stop a heartbeat. But how do you view this verdict?
I would look at it more as a very inconsiderate verdict. There are always the rhetorics of honor, there are rhetorics of, morality and all of it. But in this particular case, we know that this woman is going through various kinds of mental stress. She's also taking medication for it. And for her, it is also after the baby is born, what she's going through. So this is a special case. We cannot be talking what she must do after the baby is born, why she didn't talk about it in the 20th and 24th week. We don't know her mental condition. Did the court give her some special person who can sit through with her and walk her through with all of that? If the court did not give her that special person who can help her through her physical and mental health, then how can the court say, why did you not do these kind of things? We should also remember that a lot of it is patriarchal. People find it difficult to make such a statement and say right to life of the child is more important than the right to autonomy of her own body, as if women are not capable, they don't have the abilities to make the decisions. Here is what we were talking about, equality and dignity together. She has come all the way to court, fought this entire case, asking for something like this to be done. Many questions will be asked. Why no protection? Why this? Why that? That's not our job. It's not our space and place to ask. This woman is going through something. And what is her mental status? Only she knows. She has suffered. People may be able to diagnose, analyze, give her medication, whatever it might be. It's only her who has experienced all of this. And when you look at this case, it is the right of this woman over the right of that baby that she is carrying. Because this woman is here and now living. She's living here. She has to look after her family. And another argument, after this child is born, let us say she gives up in adoption or does not give up. But what all would the child be hearing for the rest of his or her life? What would other people talk to her about her own child? What will she have to listen to? What are the other behavior experiences that she has to counter from so many people, including her family? Why hasn't my court thought of all of this? Isn't her life important? Isn't she the citizen now who's living and working, contributing, taking care, playing the role of a mother, a wife, a sister, and whatever? Isn't that much more important today? I think that's the consideration my court should have given.
All right, Brinda, you of course don't agree with the verdict, but what if you've essentially pointed out about how in this case the mother has been suffering from postpartum psychosis. She had expressed that this was an unplanned pregnancy. But how can this verdict be read from a woman's perspective to exercise her choice, her rights?
Absolutely. Because India has been one of the most progressive countries talking about the right for this woman, every woman citizen in our country, to abort the baby if she chooses to. That autonomy over her body to decide for herself. Now we are going back. We are just like the others because we are saying you don't have that right. You're not in the right frame of mind. You don't have your abilities. And we might have said this in another case because, it was a rape, because it was whatever. But here we will not give it to you. You're not a minor. You have not been raped. It was consensual. All of this is not an argument if you are going to award that dignity and respect to the woman to make her choice about her body. She has the right to choose that she will not carry that baby. She wants to abort that baby. It's her right. And that right, she must be allowed to exercise. If she is not given that right and the state does not help her to exercise that right, then it is her constitutional guarantees are being violated. We are telling that you have a constitutional right to be treated in this manner. But here what we are saying is you don't have that right. The right of the baby, an unborn baby, is much more important than your own right and whatever that you may be suffering. And because you are a woman and you have, that vessel
Brinda,
that you
although
will
you're
carry,
making
that
pertaining
carries the
points
baby,
and
you
looking
have
at it
to
from
suffer.
that prism, I'd have to interject you because I'm also going to take that time to introduce our other guest on the show, Sunieta Ojha, Advocate, Supreme Court. Sunieta, I appreciate you as well for joining us here this evening on Mirror. Now, of course, Brinda had her own perspective of what she makes of this judgment. But Sunieta, what do you make of this judgment? And if you could also draw things into perspective for our viewers, legally speaking.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me on the show. Madam Brinda has spoken very vigorously about the right. If you look at the law as exists in India, it is very, very pro-choice. There is no doubt about it, especially after the amendment which was carried out in 2021, which took the timeline where the right to where the MTP is allowed legally, it took the timeline from 12 weeks to 20 weeks. So remember, 20 weeks when we're talking about 5 months. 5 months of pregnancy can be aborted without asking any question with only one doctor's approval. That is pro-choice. That's the pro-choice legal regime as we have in India. Now, from 20 to 24, which is the time when the pregnancy becomes 6 months old. Remember, we are only 3 months away from the time when a woman can deliver the child. At that point of time, there are additional requirements added under the law, which means, of course, the rape victim, unmarried woman, failure of pregnancy, till up to 6 weeks, all that is needed is two doctors, they certify and the MTP can be carried out, medical termination of pregnancy. Now let's look at the last 3 legs, which is the 9 after 6 months. Even in those circumstances, I would say the right, the choice, the woman's choice. There are 2 things which come into play. One is the fetal abnormality, because we are looking at a fetus which is well developed, absolutely. In fact, in a healthy pregnancy, if you go to any hospital, your neonatal unit will show that the delivery is done in 6 months. 6 months, 1 week, 6 months, 2 weeks. Now, under the law, even in this phase, the MTP can be carried out, one in case of a fetal abnormality, another in case where there is a threat to the woman's life. In case the woman's life is in danger, you need nothing. Even a one doctor who is her gynecologist who is working with a woman finds that she is in her life is in great danger, then that MTP can be carried out. So what is that in this case, when the Supreme Court has rejected the petition for in case because the woman has come after the time period, that is number one. Court directed the medical board, AIMS board, to see if there are any fetal abnormalities. Her concern was that I have taken certain medicines which could have impact on the fetus. Court asked for all those reports, and after that they came to a conclusion that neither there is a danger to her life, nor is there any fetal abnormalities as pointed out by the report.
Sunita, I don't mean to interject you as you're making those points, but just quickly, I want to understand, with the court having earlier observed the autonomy of the mother triumphs, but no one to really take a stand for the child, which, of course, Brinda was also pointing out. So, essentially, in your viewpoint, can this judgment be seen in a way to balance or make way for the rights of the child, Sunita?
It is, I don't think the court has looked at it from the perspective of a right of the child, but what the court has upheld the law as it exists today. And if you ask me honestly, even the Chief Justice commented at the time of hearing that we are a pro-choice country. There is no doubt, there is no question about it. Please pick up our law and pick up any other country's law, compare it, and you will come to the same conclusion that we are pro-choice. Till 6 months, no questions asked. No questions asked. So therefore, I think it's important. And also, if people, so therefore, what is our 2021 has extended that time period. And we are still not talking in terms of a child. We are talking about till when can you legally terminate a pregnancy, which is 24 weeks. And even if that time limit is passed, you have to either there is a conclusion with respect to fetal abnormalities, or there is a danger to woman's life. If the court was talking about the right of the child, how would this, how come, in case of the woman's life is far more important than anything else. And that actually our law recognizes.
Right.
Our law recognizes. The court today has upheld what is the law of the land, which I think within the constitutional scheme of the act, constitutional scheme of our country. Thank you.
Right, Sunita. On that note, I want to thank you and Brinda also for, essentially drawing things into perspectives as to how you look at it and the prism in which you're looking at. But for the moment, we're going to leave the conversation at that. We're slipping in a short break here on Daily Mirror. More news on the other side. Stay with us. We're going to be right back.